Okay, so English this week, we are looking more into the highwayman and understanding a bit more, and the two tasks link together and they carry on from what you guys did last week. Some fantastic posters were sent in of how they've thought about to present their information about the highwayman, so I was really excited about those ones. And I learnt some interesting facts that I didn't know before from you guys, so thank you so much for that. Now, when I look at the task this week, we've got writing task 3. Now this one here, it says we're going to learn a little bit more about the highwayman, and we're going to read the next few stanzas of the poem to understand about the characteristics of the highwayman. Now stanza basically means paragraph in poem, just in case you weren't sure. So here we go. Over the cobbles he clattered and clashed in the dark inn yard, and he tapped with his whip on the shutters, but all was locked and barred. He whistled a tune to the window, and who should be waiting there but the landlord's black-eyed daughter, Bess, the landlord's daughter, plaiting a dark red love knot into her long black hair. One kiss, my bonny sweetheart, I'm after a prize tonight, but I shall be back with the yellow gold before the morning light. Yet if they press me sharply and harry me through the day, then look for me by moonlight, watch for me by moonlight, I'll come to thee by moonlight, though hell should bar the way. He rose up in his stirrups, he scarce could reach her hand, but she loosened her hair in the casement, his face burnt like a brand, as the black cascade of perfume came tumbling over his breast, and he kissed its waves in the moonlight. Oh, sweet black waves in the moonlight! Then he tugged on his rein in the moonlight, and galloped away to the west. So, there's a few more things that we're learning a little bit about the highwayman. So have a think. It says she's plaiting a dark red love knot in her black hair. Think love knot. What's the kind of relationship between these two characters? So we've learnt that Bess is the inn yard's daughter. So we've learnt a bit more about her, and we can see that maybe he's a bit more of a romantic as well as this scary and brave person going into the night and sort of robbing people on the highway. So, as I said, there's a new character, Bess, the landlord's daughter. What could be the problem with the young girl falling in love with the highwayman? Is he someone that the landlord would approve of? Is it someone that he would think is a fantastic choice for his daughter? Look at what you know about the highwaymen from last week. So what were they like? What did they look like? How did they dress? How did they behave? What were their motives? What was the reason behind their actions? Have a look at your poster and sort of refresh yourself for a second. What were some of the things that you knew or you learnt about the highwayman? And then your activity this week is you're going to be coming up with some alliteration. This is more of a planning task to help us with our next task. So write some alliteration to describe the highwayman, like dashingly dangerous, handsome horseman, and write some similes to describe them, as mysterious as deadly as, and you can think of your own ones there. It could be things more in keeping with the time, or it could be things that you know nowadays. So as mysterious as Doctor Who is more modern, but you might want to keep within more the time. Now, add all your ideas to your poster from activity 1 if you can. I know some of you filled yours to the brim. Or if not, use a new piece of paper so you can plan out some of the things that you're going to be doing for that. Remember to email us if you've got any questions. So the email is on this slide here. You can see it's wi5@harrisonprimaryschool.co.uk, because you might have some questions, queries, or you want to share your work so far. If I click off this and go to the next task, activity 4, this is where we're going to be writing a highwayman advert. And what's really fantastic about this is you can present it how you want. You can write it down. You could video your advert and send it in to us. Because you might want to sort of act it out and sort of persuade us to take part in this fantastic job role. So you're going to be writing a job advert to recruit highwaymen, so to hire them, to sort of entice them to come into this job, and it must be appealing and persuasive. There's a model on the next page, and just like we would do in school, have a look at what good language has been used. Did you notice the sort of rhetorical questions at the start? Look at the use of a colon to introduce a list of qualities for the role of the highwayman. Did you spot some alliteration, a simile, a metaphor, or any other figurative language? Think about how it ended as well, and think about how you could for your one. So have a read of this one. Now you've maybe had a chance to just read it, have a look through, and actually think, right, what's really good about this one? So devilishly daring, I think that one's quite a good one. And it's got sort of rhetorical questions to talk to the reader, to speak to them, to encourage them to think about, oh, maybe this is a job that I'm interested in. Just like when you did the start of your dreams that we wrote in sort of the first week that we were off. A few of them have been sent in and they were fantastic. They were such a delight to read. To fulfill this role, you must have the following qualities and skills. So we've got a colon here to sort of introduce the things that people might need, the sort of skills, the characteristics, and you could be thinking about what they might need, because I know some of you learnt a bit more about them and learnt about some of their tragic ends as well and what happened to them if they were caught. So you might want to think about how they could avoid those things. Are you devilishly daring? Do you long for the thrill of adventure? If so, then this could be the career for you. To fulfill this role, you must have the following qualities and skills. Be roguishly handsome, skilled with both sword and pistol, be a master of disguise to disappear in an instant, and therefore as elusive as the wind to evade cruel capture from King George's men. If you are able to rob the rich without a care in the world, and make your fortune by dealing in stolen goods, then surely this is the ideal job for you. How could you turn it down? Although many a girl will fall in love with your indisputable charm and undeniable wit, you must be able to dedicate yourself to a risky life on the road, for a highwayman's lot is not an easy one. If this sounds appealing and attractive, spare no time, saddle your horse, polish your rapier, and set out for the scandalous life of a highwayman today. And I love that they've used such different punctuation, so the exclamation mark at the end just to give that excitement to the end of it, and it sort of makes you want to go and have a look and go and apply for the job. And they've also got questions that talk to the reader, really engaging them, bringing them in, so you can use those in your writing, guys, and it'll be fantastic to see some of these. So step 1, can you use your ideas from activity 1, activity 2 and activity 3 to help you make notes on what you would use to describe the highwayman? So you might have had some similes, you might have had some alliteration, any sort of thing that you've been sort of using in activity 3 will definitely help you with activity 4. Then it says create your own rhetorical questions to introduce your advert, because I think they definitely hook the reader and encourage them to read on. Now you start your advert, but don't forget what skills to include. I've put a list of skills here, so colons for a list, awesome adjectives, rhetorical questions, alliteration, exclamation marks, and persuasive language. You've really got to sort of sell that advert, this job for the people reading it. Now, when you finish, don't forget, this is really important. This is like a sneaky activity 5 that we snuck in. Read it through. And that means reading it out loud, not just in your head. Remember, we've said that when we're reading it out loud, we find all those little tiny errors that we wouldn't have noticed before. Does it make sense? Are there any spelling mistakes? That's really important. Is it punctuated correctly? Can you up-level your work to think about any other skills that you could include? And then email it to your Year 5 teacher at y5@harrisonprimaryschool.co.uk so we can see the fantastic work that you guys have been doing. I really hope that you enjoy the Highwaymen, and we've got another week of the Highwaymen next week as well. Work really hard on these advert, guys, and try your best. I know that you guys are working extremely hard at home and you're having fun as well, which is really important. And look out next week for a slightly different teacher doing the video for the next Highwayman task. I'll let you imagine who it could be to keep you eager for next week. And have fun, guys.